Welcome to Saudi Critical Care Pharmacy Research. I'm Alshehri, and on this session, we are going to look at statistical program SPSS and some of basic functionality, and give you an idea of what it can do and how may it work in your own data work. First, we need to know what is the data classification, and by end of this session, we will move to practical exercise on SPS. The classification of data based on type are two, numerical and categorical variable. Starting with the numerical or quantitative variable, it has same meaning. We can connect two words to know that they have the same meaning of the letter N. So what is the numerical variable? It means the value are number with equal units such as weight in pound and time in hour. We have two types of quantitative data, discrete. When it take a specific value such as number of pregnancy or ER visit, continuous if the data coming in range such as systolic, blood pressure or body mass index. Moving to categorical, when the variable placed into category such as hair color, blood type, and ethnic group. We have two types of qualitative, nominal, ordinal. Nominal, when there is no rank, and ordinal where there is a rank or order. An example for nominal: disease, no disease, or blood type. Ordinal, severity of disease. So now we will see the exercise. Indicate whether quantitative data are continuous or discrete. Indicate whether the qualitative data are nominal or ordinal. The number of pair of shoes you own. The type of car you drive. Where you go on vacation. Weight. Economic status. In any research, we start on data collection, and then we end up with the data analysis to get the results. So we have two types of data analysis, univariate and inferential statistic. What is the univariate or descriptive statistic? It is basically we are trying to describe our value or data. So here in this type of analysis, we are not looking for association or difference. So how can I describe the categorical data? Let's say we have 500 patients, for example, and we want to know the gender in the sample. I will say, for example, 200 of the patients were male and 50% of them were male. So I used the count and percent to describe the categorical variable. I will describe the categorical by using the count, how many in the sample, and by using the percent. And when we have the numerical data, let's say, for example, I will to describe the age in the sample, I will put the mean of average, and I will put the standard deviation. The standard deviation will give me an indication about the spread of a group and the number from the mean. let's say the mean age of the patient was 26 and the standard deviation 10 years. 26 it means the average, and 10 years tell you the degree of spread in your dataset. So it's measure of the variability in the sample. 20 years, let's say we have the standard deviation 20 years. What that mean? It's mean I have more spread of data. So numerical data will be described in our data. If it's normally distributed, I will use the mean and standard deviation. And if it's not, I will use the median or the quartile range, the lower quartile Q1 and upper quartile Q3. Inferential statistic. What's the inferential statistic? It allows you to make a prediction that inference from your data. With inferential statistic, you take the data from sample and make generalization about a population. For example, you might stand on ER door and ask a sample of 100 of patients if they are complaining of fever, and you can make a bar chart of yes or no answer that would be descriptive. Or you could use your research and some of inferential statistics to reason that about 50% of the population in general, that's mean like every ER and in every hospital, they admitted in ER due to a fever. So this is the inferential statistic. You have basically taking a very simple, a very small number of people, and you will hypothesize that you know something about entire population. And once you start hypothesizing and making statements that aren't based on actual fact, that is inferential statistic. And there are two main types of inferential statistic bivariate, which is mean when the data set contain two variables and the researcher aim to undertaking comparison between two data sets. Multivariate, more complex from a more complex form of statistical analysis and used when they are a more than two variable in data sets. It's very important to use a vague term. Make sure to say association. Association, a more vague term used to describe a relationship between a quantitative variable and difference if there is at least one numerical and other not numerical. For example, if we are looking for difference in age by gender. Now I will demonstrate the basic of setting up an SPSS data. So here we will have the SPSS data file. Okay, let's open SPSS. And when you open SPSS, the first window, the first appear, it's asking you what would you like to do. So you will put type and data and then press OK. Or if you have a data and then OK. What if you have data in Excel and you want to import the data into SPSS? You will press File, open data, and then you will choose the file, and you will change the type into Excel, and you will press on open. You will get the data from Excel into SPSS. So now let's see the SPSS. We have two view, the data view and variable view. The data view, each we have a column and we have a row. The column will contain the information for each one variable. Let's say, for example, here we have the ID, and here we will have the age and gender. So for each variable, and the row will contain information for each case. And we have the variable view here, where you can add and delete variable and define their attribute. We have the name, can add first the name of the variable. The name of the variable should be one content, which is mean I cannot put space. Let's see, for example, I want to write age group, so I will put the space, variable name, it will be invalid. So it have to be one content, no space. I cannot start the name with a number also. Let's try to put the number. It will be not work. And also the special characteristic. The special characteristic, it's not allowed. So it should be one content with no, not starting with a number, with no space. So this is the name of the variable. And also we have the type. The type we have, when it's numerical, I will choose this one. When it's categorical, I will choose this one. The width, it's give you the maximum number of digits of the variable. And usually it's by default, you will find 8, which is mean you can put 8 digits. Decimals, number of decimals. Label you can, this is where you can provide a more precise specification about the variable. And so if you want to put more detail, or you have more detail is needed, you can just add. And also you can put a space on it. The value here, where we can do the coding. Let's say, for example, I have gender, male and female. I will define male as 1, for example, and female as a 2. And the reason why I'm doing the coding, I want to transfer the categorical data into numerical. So I know the male means 0 and female mean 1. Because the numeric data easier to analyze and statistics work well with the number. Moving to the missing, I will define the missing like a 999, and then I will press OK. The reason also just to be ignored in data analysis, we have the column. The column is not important, just it's coming with the default. The measure, it came with the scale and ordinal nominal. Scale for numerical, and this is for categorical. See the data view. We have in the column the variable ID, gender, obese, fever, nausea, and in the row we have for each case patient number 1, patient number 2, patient number 3. This is in the data view. In the variable view, as we said here, we name the data for the variable 1. And if you notice, I put all of the type numeric because I do all of the categorical coding. So in the gender, we code male with the 0 and female with the 1. I can remove and I can do it again. Female 1, add the value 1 and the label for female. Okay. We have the missing defined as 999. I can copy it in all variable just to make sure that to be ignored in the analysis. The major we have scale here because it's ID numerical, nominal because it's gender, so it is qualitative, and there is no rank or specific order, so it will be nominal, scale, 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 and nominal for age group. Descriptive. Let's say we have research and we are interested to know or assessing the quality of life among cancer patients in Saudi Arabia. And then we want to present in the first a sample characteristic in our sample, like in table 1. So how can we do a descriptive for categorical variable? We will go to Analyze, Descriptive, and then we will press on Frequency. We will move the categorical variable into the variable. We don't have to do one by one. The easier way to do is to press on the first variable and then press on Shift and then the last variable and move off. Make sure to select Display Frequency Table and then press OK. So you can see in the output there is a frequency table for each variable. Here the frequency, which is mean the count, the percent, valid percent, and cumulative percent for gender and for each categorical variable. There is another way which is much easier, and it's easy to reformatting for the publication purposes. So let's see the other way to do descriptive for the categorical variable. We will go to the table, custom table, and then we will press OK. We will select the categorical variable and we will utilize the row, not the column. Drop the variable and press on the summary statistic. Now we have the count, we still need the percent. So we will add the column percent. We will use the row percent if it's the study cross-sectional, and we will use the column percent if it's we have two sample or clinical trial. So here we will apply to or case control also, because we have two sample, and here we will apply to selection, and then we will press OK. So now we have the count and the percent for each variable. We will copy this to the Excel. And let's see how can we do the descriptive for numerical. Analysis for numerical variable, or how can we analyze numerical variable? We have two ways. First one, we will go to analyze, descriptive, and then descriptive. We will add here the numerical variable, and then make sure to select safe standard values are is a variable, and then press OK. So here we have the n, the minimum, maximum, mean, and standard deviation. And also there is another way to do that. We will start with the analyze, table, custom tables, and then we will press OK, reset. We will select the numerical variable, and we will utilize the rows, not the column, summary statistic, and here you can see we have the median, which can be used when the data it's not or the variable not normally distributed, and the percentile also can be used, but here we will use the standard deviation, assuming the variable are normally distributed. So we will apply on selection. We have the mean and standard deviation, and then we will press OK, and then I will copy to Excel. Now we will learn how to reformat for publication purpose. So how we have the categorical and numerical. I will cut this. Each journal have a specific requirement, but generally this like a basic step need to be done. Instead of column and percent, I will just put percent, and instead of the word count, I will just put in. And it's better to do the editing in the Excel and copy it to the Word. Make sure all of the variables start with capital letter, and instead of a standard deviation, I will just put S and D. Now I will work on the border, or first I will add the table. Title. So the title will be table 1, make sure the first is capital, sample, right. Now I will work in the border. I need to remove all the border. So I will put all, no border. Also, this is depend on the when it's come to the publication, each journal have a specific requirement for the table, but as general, it's not supposed to be a lot of border. So here I will just put the bottom. Here I will put top and bottom. And here I will put the top and bottom also. And here I will put only the bottom. And if I have something for clarification or definition, I can put a flag on it. And I will add the definition here, for example. So this is more appropriate form of the table. Now, if I want also, I can remove the no need for no and yes. I can just keep OPs without OPs, yes or no, or I can keep both. How can we report these into a result part? When I report this table in the result part, first I will refer to the table. For example, I will say characteristic of patient are presented in table 1. And then I have to mention the total number of patients we're including in the study. And then I will mention, for example, the gender. So I don't have to mention both male or female, either male or female. Also, it's depends if the study study are expected to be more the female higher risk or something, we would represent the female. If the male have a higher risk, we will represent the male. And if there is nothing specific, we will just choose either male or female. The most important is not to put all of them. Also, we will just, for example, mention the yes, and very important, we don't have to mention obese and non-obese. Like we have to say 91 or 8.9 of the sample were obese. 52.3 had a fever, nausea. So I have to concentrate it only on the yeses, and I don't have to mention all of the characteristic, only the important one. The age should be mentioned, the age and the standard deviation also. And so I have to say after the gender immediately the mean age of the patient, and then I will say standard deviation plus or minus 10 years. I have to write plus and minus, the sign of a plus and minus. That's all. Thank you, and I hope the presentation was useful.